Tax exoneration bet.
We have 4 people that have requested to be exonerated. 1 doesn't live in Sunbury, 2 are deceased, and 1's on SSI. So I'd like to make a motion that we exonerate these people from city taxes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Ms. Crandall?
Yes.
Any audience comment on anything in particular? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. The going out Wolverton Street, on the right side past the little walkway, who owns that parcel of land on the other side? Does Sunbury Textile, or is that part of the city? But,
How far?
from between the walkway and the railroad track.
It's probably half and half.
Okay, the
only guessing.
weeds are getting extremely high. When you come up the Walnut Street extension, it's very hard to see what's coming up Walnut.
We were out last week, and we'll be back out this week.
Okay,
I know what you're referring to, and I forget the right of way of Cedar Cogs Rail there. But I think it's, they own from center of tracks 30 feet. Okay. But the rest of it belongs to the city, but we normally clean up that section. I know what you're referring to.
okay. Throughout the town, if you have a tree on your property and it hangs over the sidewalk, and people have to duck going under, is that legal? I mean, is there some ruling that
I
they?
know on
would
the
have?
street there's a clearance, Dale, maybe do the height.
I don't know about the sidewalks, but you give us the houses and I'll have somebody up and look at it. Give us the
Okay.
addresses.
It's on Market Street, between 11th and 12th.
Is it one along the curb line, or do you?
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
on
no,
this-
it's on their property,
Oh, okay.
the sidewalk, and then there's the short patch of grass. But there's 2 trees on 2 different properties that are kind of hanging down over. And when we walk down that way, we kind of have to duck under them.
Upper side or lower side of the street?
Going up over Market Street Hill, it's on the right
Should be on
side.
the, if I'm not, you live on the even side?
No,
other
odd
side?
side,
Huh?
odd side.
You're on the odd side.
Yeah, it's right by where Court Street comes down around. It's Mr. Ely's house and the house on the corner. Their trees are really hanging down over. In fact, they're coming out over onto Market Street.
Okay, I'll have somebody up there tomorrow looking at it.
Okay?
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
I have a list, Mr. Mayor and Council. Regina Russell, community activist. Who is responsible for the Sunbury Community Garden?
People that have,
There's still school teachers doing it.
I believe the school
Yeah,
school
there's a group of school teachers got together, that's who tried to.
I know they
make
were
it.
there last weekend, to
Okay,
pick it up.
because about last week, I was in that area and the grass was mile
And
high.
if you look, it is freshly mowed. I have to drive by it, that's what I know. But, and it looks like there are some plants coming up, but it's, I don't know
Yeah,
for
they're doing
sure
the
that
garden.
it's the same group.
I think it's the same group doing it.
Okay. The property on Church and 3rd Street, which I've complained about before, and I believe you said it has something to do with a fire company that's right there in front of the railroad tracks. They're back to mile-high weeds, grass, trash.
Church and Third or Penn and Third?
I call it Church, maybe it's Penn.
I
You know
think
better
that-
than I do.
Rick, that's actually the city's property.
And it looks horrible. Trash, it's a dumping site. That's all I can say about that.
By Oak, she's on
No.
I think
Right
it's
in front of the ones is front door over the 3rd. That's the.
Where they had the carnival.
Yeah, the fire company owns out
Oh,
25 feet,
yeah.
that's the city property.
I had a young lady stop me when I got out of my car yesterday, and she was in tears with her 2 children. One was 6, one was 8. Said that she had just returned from walking to the playground on South Second Street, that the grass was high. She took a picture because her son at 6, the grass was that high, the weeds, grass, I don't know about grass, but weeds were that high. She said that the 2 swings were broken and they were wrapped around the pole, and the sliding board had a missing panel which looked like someone had stomped it out. And she was upset because the kids wanted to go to the playground and play, and she said that's the best. She doesn't have a car, so she walked, and she had to walk back. And the kids were very disappointed that they could not go to the playground. I don't know who's responsible for the playgrounds, but if someone could, you know, give that one some attention, it would be kind.
Well, I can tell you last week that Mr. Long and his crew went down and cut the grass, the weeds inside and outside, and I guarantee you ain't nothing more than quarter inch right now. And they're going down tomorrow to spray.
What'd you say was broke?
And who's on that?
Regina, what'd you say was broke?
2 swings,
Swing.
sliding board, and the grass was mile high, grass and
Well, you just
weeds.
said you took care of the grass, but.
And this was yesterday, so
Just,
I don't know, you know, when it
And we
rains,
knew that last
everything
Thursday,
grows
right?
faster.
I had a whole crew down there last Thursday, it was clean. Now, as far as the equipment, that's what
This
we're
is
doing.
also, the new equipment is ordered, we expect it in any day now for the slide and also the swings. We've been waiting, actually it was in back order.
Well, those swings have been broken for a couple of years.
That's correct. But it was a money issue, and there was a company in town here donated the money to bring them up to standards.
There is a property, and I'm gonna refer to it as an abandoned property because it's been that way for 3 years, maybe more. It has a large dumpster in the back of it on the corner of South Halls and Church. Anybody familiar with that property?
Halls in church?
South Halls, AWL.
Hall in church.
Yes,
Oh.
and it's been that way for a long time.
I know the guy has a permit to work, and
He hasn't worked
The
in a
yellow
long
building?
time,
Is
Councilman.
that a yellow building?
it's up.
Well, you could say mustard and peeling, it's disgusting.
But I went into that with Joe a couple of times, and he says the guy has a permit, and he is doing stuff on it.
And the weeds and the grass is mile high in the back there too as
I
well.
will, I'll add that to this list tomorrow for him to check it out, the trees and that.
Mr. Mayor and some of the council members are still present. A couple of years ago, I tried to see if you would make some sort of ordinance that would address abandoned properties or vacant properties. With vacant properties, it would be an amount of time. Maybe if the property is vacant for 2 years, that you would give a higher tax to these property owners so that the city would no longer be burdened with the maintenance and care, and the burden would fall upon the property owner. I don't think you were receptive at that time. Maybe you would be receptive now. I've been here 10 years. You still have huge apartment buildings and houses that, in my opinion, have been abandoned and they're vacant. I don't know who owns these properties, but just like the buildings you see on Market Street, they're vacant, they're not up for sale. The cleaners, I think, has been closed since 2008, 2009. That sits there for what? Is someone going to sell it? Does someone own that property?
If you come, I welcome you to redevelopment authority meetings when they meet. You'll see there's an entire list of probably anywhere from 20 to 30 properties on there that are going through the process, either from nuisance or whatever it may be, until we get up to the point where you can actually do something legally with it. That's exactly what the redevelopment authority was resurrected for 3 years ago, and that's why we have over 70 homes. So as far as taking care of that, and when you talk about abandoned, like an abandoned business, it's empty. As long as they maintain outside that property, there's nowhere you can do anything to make them fill it.
A prime example, sir, not to cut you off, and I'm sorry, a prime example for my saying to do a special tax assessment on properties like this would be this house on South Hall, however you pronounce it. All, South Hall and Church. Is that South Hall and Church? Yeah,
What,
that would be a prime. That house has been vacant and
It's a lot harder when you're talking about abandoned residential properties they already aren't paying their taxes, they aren't paying their water, they aren't maintaining their properties. So until the redevelopment authority can put it through the process, it is up to the city to take care of the weeds and to handle it, hopefully to avoid getting it to a completely dilapidated spot where then we need to demo it. Hopefully it's a renovation
I haven't been
project.
inside, but from the outside, it certainly could go on your list for demolition.
It depends though, if someone is working on it, then.
Condemned and demolition.
It depends on the property, but that's what they're doing.
And as far as the taxes go, we can't selectively raise people's taxes.
Well, maybe you want to look into other cities and how they handle it. In the District of Columbia, they have done this. In Maryland, in Baltimore, they have done it. And in Virginia, they have done it in Shirlington.
No. This is
So,
a third-class
A little
city.
research would help.
This is a third-class city and we're limited to those things.
You're limited as long as you accept being limited.
I would just inject, because City College has been very active with the city in their efforts of redevelopment through the authority, and I would just interject that the city has researched quite extensively the regulations that exist in the state of Pennsylvania and are frankly exercising most of the opportunities that are available to them. Some of the ideas in larger urban areas that you're mentioning, I'm a little bit familiar with, and they're not tools that are available in the city. The city really has exercised most of the tools that are available to it in the efforts they've made over the last 3 to 4 years.
And the efforts have to do with assessing them for extra tax on the property?
To the best of my knowledge, you can't have different taxing structures based on someone's opinion of the condition of the properties.
I'll see if I can bring that information to our city council.
Good. And you have my card, share that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, in reviewing the city ordinances, I am not able to find the chapter or the ordinance code number permitting motor vehicles, commercial vehicles, and equipment to block the designated public sidewalks for pedestrians and the 5 feet ruling that is often quoted.
Mrs. Russell, I think we gave you a copy of that ordinance
No, you
a
didn't
year
give
and a
me a
half ago.
copy of that ordinance,
Well,
sir.
it was her thing, and we'll get it through that, we'll give you a copy of it. I'll put that on the list, but we went through that with the property on Walnut Street, on either side of 4th Street, and police was down, monitored it, looked at it, and they said there was nothing illegal about what they're doing. They were actually
The
parking.
police takes their instructions from you, sir.
Not from me,
But
they
as long as I can get that ordinance chapter and code number, that would be wonderful for my records. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
But it's-
Also, for a very long time, I had withheld some information, but I am very concerned about the person that you want to make chief of police. And his name is Officer Bennett. I don't know his first name. But when I started complaining about Councilman Ister's property at 406 Walnut Street and his tenant that kept violating and no one was enforcing the codes, and that started after 2012 when I received a telephone call. But prior to 2012, the code officers were able to speak to this gentleman and ask him to remove any trash or vehicles, illegal vehicles that he was parking in an open way. Mr. Bennett, or Officer Bennett, came to my door and warned me that I was not to be or step on private property, and if I did, that I would be arrested. And Councilman Ister's tenant stood behind him while he spoke to me on the curb, so that he listened to the conversation and that the officer was letting me know if I stepped on this private property again, that I would be arrested. Till today, that officer was not dispatched to that location. There's no record of him being dispatched to that location. I am also in possession of a letter that was filed as a complaint to the city about Officer Bennett making a traffic stop. A young Caucasian woman was driving with 2 Afro-American men in the vehicle. He made them get out of the vehicle and crawl on their bellies toward him because he said that they looked like suspects who the police officers were looking for. So I have that in writing also.
That was
So my
2012.
concern is that
Did you say
I would not
2012?
like, no, sir. I said in 2005, the letter was
2005.
written. Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm sure there's no record on file. So that's my concern, that I would not like to see this gentleman become the chief of police. Thank you for listening
I
to
have
me.
one question, Ms. Russell. When you said about the crossing the curb or not being on private property, and you haven't confirmed that he wasn't requested, how did you get that from the 911 staff?
That's my business, sir, and not yours how I got
Don't wait until you ask for the right to know.
it. You can summons me in court and
Every public
we'll
can
do that.
Get that, can they?
Right to know you can, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I want to ask something. When Christine McFarland leaving from the rehabilitation center, who's taking her place? The Megan or somebody else?
From what center, sir?
SRI,
SRI?
yeah.
Mr. Roush is the new director right there of SRI.
I didn't understand really anything that you said.
I'm
How about
from
me?
370 Market Street building.
Okay,
So, and when I started, was Christine McFarland, I don't know how to call the last name. And she left, I don't know, for the promotion or the fire. Who's taking her place?
The lady that used to be the director prior to you,
Christine, no, that was a Rose.
That was,
He wants to know who took over as the director of SRO.
Mr. Roush is the director.
So why once she left, I see all the time the Megan bags. And when I go to see any progress for the building, she said to me, you sell the building, you sell the building, you sell the building. But before the Christine tried hard, the only person tried hard to do something for the Sunbury and the 370 Market Street building and the Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose left for the Chamber of Commerce too.
I know of no
I
involvement.
never see you when I came in, only the Mingan,
Sir,
so many years.
was the name Yankowski?
I think it was McLaughlin, wasn't it?
Well, he's saying Christine.
Christine
I don't know.
That's Christian McLaughlin.
McCluskey, something like that.
McLaughlin.
Yeah,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
little short lady.
That was a
You
while
need to
ago.
meet, Mr. Roush is the person you're talking about, so maybe sometime you need to.
I know of no involvement with 370 Market Street by SRI or any plans for.
I know, I never see you. The
I think
only,
that's right.
the only was the Mingan bags. And when I go on over there to ask for any news, she asked me, you sell the building, you sell the building. I don't know if it's make a community service or a community looting.
Mr. Roush, the building that the gentleman's talking about is Fourth and Market, catty corner across from the Edison Hotel. They're in negotiations, or trying to do something, they were talking about putting the
Community garden.
junior college in there or something like that. And I think what he'd like to do is get with you and see if there's any cooperation or coordination
Any way you can help.
to find something to do with that building.
Okay, well, the community college is a separate group, and SRI is a separate nonprofit from the city,
Yeah, but all the
so.
time when we make it the meetings, was Mingan was there, and on June I have appointment in New York. June 26th, I don't appear in on the 14th. I don't appear at the meeting, and January 26, 15. No, January 27 was a Tuesday. They have a meeting without to call me, and Megan said to me, "Oh, I don't have your phone." They got the phone. They got my lawyer phone. They got my son phone, and nobody calls me.
Right, and I have to say that whatever was happening during that time did not actually involve SRI. There may have been individuals that were associated with SRI from the past that were doing things involving that building. There currently is not. There is still some interest, I understand, from the community college group, and they have a separate board of directors or a separate organization.
Yeah, I understand, because I never saw you, you know, in the office when I go. Only Christine, and after Christine left, I don't know, they fire her or they take a promotion.
That was a number of
I
years
lost.
ago, I understand.
Okay, but I don't know that SRI can help you, but maybe that's, I guess that's what you're asking for, if anybody, you're looking for somebody to help you move the building, and it's been going on for a lot of years, I know the community college, so I don't know where you stand with them, maybe we can get back with them, see if there's anything new, and I'm sure if Mr. Rouse can do anything for you, but
Because
SRI was never really that involved in that, other than the site.
when I started with the first mayor, and I tell them I want to be community college because the Asian Greeks say you open one school, you close one jail. He said to me, I want to close all the jails, but at that time I'm no interest for that. And I told him, no problem, I can wait. And he said to me, I like the idea, and wait. So Mr. Liner Aklum get involved. I give the blueprints because the previous owner he gave me the blueprints also. We make a meeting on 2013 or 12 in the library, and started making some progress. And the Ricky Bowers take it, the architect take it and do something after they stop it.
Okay, but again, I know you're frustrated with your property and what's happening, but there's
No,
lots of
I'm not
properties we're
frustrated.
trying to
I
help
can't
out.
wait. I can't wait.
There's no
But
answer
the
there.
thing is, some people, when they involved for the community service and say, I'm going to help you, when you go over there to help you, they don't say to you, you sell the building, you sell the building.
I think he's complaining about it. Every time we went for something, they wanted him to solve it.
Well, it's going to be as an answer how to do with it. Yes, ma'am.
Well, isn't that basement filled with mold? How can you have community college there?
I've never been in, I haven't been in the building for years.
I don't know what that is, but I'll put that on the list to ask Mike. I know that they're working on it, they just to the outside, they're working on the roof, they're working on the inside, on the top floor, they're doing stuff.
Like I complained last time for the roof,
Yeah.
you know, the court delay, I don't know why, because that contractor was a commissioner in the Union County. So I don't know if the poor guys and the little guys got the rights and the rights taken the big guys.
Well, that's all civil act, that would need to be civil act to you and him, that's, okay.
But you know about that.
If we had an answer, if anybody in this room had an answer for you, sir, I'm sure they would give it to you, but as you see, there is nobody that has an answer. So I'm sure it's a frustrating thing, but other than, like I'm saying, I'm sure Mr. Roush will sit down if you want to talk to him about something, but SRI doesn't have an answer for it either.
No, like I say, Christine, my father, how called the name, she tried to help me, and when I'm going over there, you know, we make a meeting in the library in 12 or 13, May 12 or May 13, I don't remember exactly, and they come from New York all over the place to make a hotels and I said, no, I want to be community college. So Mr. Ross started to do something with Ricky Bowers, the architect. That's over there. And after they started, I don't know why, because few lobbyists started, you know, for some. I got no idea.
Yep, well, it's a different time now, it's a different age, money's different. And
Yeah, I understand that.
Years back when Christina's here, we were talking to Bloomsburg about some situations in the city, so that was there. But when things dry up and funding and that stuff dries up, that's what happens. And you're at that stage right
Yeah,
now,
but
there's not a lot of stuff out there.
Somebody from the committee said to me, we got, I don't know if you remember about the auction in the middle school. Before the auction, the news say the building is unsafe for classes. That's why we put them for auction. And after somebody tell me that's ready for classes, we're going to put in this. And if I want to donate my property to the city.
Don't know anything about that, sir. And I'm sure our code officer is not aware of anything going on in.
I know, I'm waiting, I can't, I have to take it out.
Sweet, and that's, Dave, that with the middle school, that's one thing, the first thing we talked about.
You know, I don't know what the commission is doing now, they fight for the border and the bread for the packet, I don't know, you know, and the kids die in the street for the drugs, we not do nothing.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're after, but there's no answers here, at this time anyway.
So, the thing I want to know, who take the place in the Christian, Megan
Right there,
or?
that gentleman right
So-
there.
Not right, but he's talking about the people that were talking about putting the community college there. And
That was a
those
whole
would be
different
different
thing.
people, that's
That was a
not
community college with
SRI.
like 5 different counties, that's all gone. This new community college is a whole different setup, like, I know, Shock's involved in that.
That's
I'm not sure
all,
who's all.
Lanier
It's all county
Ellen,
though.
Lanier Ellen is the
Alumni.
one, do you know Lanier?
Yeah, I know
She's
her.
the one who's in charge of the community college, and the president of that board is
Yeah, but-
currently Dave Zartman. And those are the people who know about their plans for the community college.
And we have no involvement in that. City Summer has no involvement.
SRI is not
SRI
involved,
doesn't.
and the city is not involved.
Yeah, but all the time we have the meeting, Megan was there.
I don't know, I don't know who that person is.
All meetings we have it before,
Right.
Megan was there.
Sometimes these board members are on a couple of different boards,
And
but it's
I
not
don't know
the
if
same
they,
organization.
this year they making any meeting, because last year my wife, we have meeting, Mr. Liner and Mr. Black Sheep, my lawyer, and Dr. Phelan. So, and make a proposal to give it for a few years free. And I don't know if my lawyers sent the proposal, so they have it. I don't have no papers for that.
Find out from your lawyer where they sent the proposal. Then you'll have an idea of who to contact.
Okay, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Is, what's going on at Fourth and Line? I understand where
With the
the
what?
Fourth and Line, I understand that where the tanning beds were, there's going to be storage sheds put in there?
I don't know what's going in there, but I know that the permit gotten, a demolition permit to tear the building down.
Does the gentleman that was a state policeman and stuff on that property?
Don't know who owns
See the state policeman?
Retired.
Was this the laundry?
it. Yeah.
Yes, they had been ambushed many years ago.
And I think he still owns it, but from what I was told the other week.
I don't know if he sold it. But he's keeping the laundromat, right? He threw away the tanning bed.
Yeah, that's what was torn down, the tanning, the building that was the tanning bed.
Yeah, I understand that he's gonna be putting storage sheds in there.
Don't know. I mean, if there's anything that thing that they would know downstairs, but the only thing I was, because I had a phone call, and the only thing I inquired about was the stuff that was placed in the parking lot. And the gentleman that owned the laundromat gave them permission to put it, and it's on where he was, so that makes sense if he owned that building and owns the laundromat.
Yeah, he owns
But I had a
laundromat.
question from the person that owned the other half of that lot about the stuff, the debris laying in there.
Right.
But the owner of the laundromat gave them permission to put that there until they could get it hauled away.
Right, right, but I didn't know if you were aware that that was the,
Yeah, I don't know what the ultimate goal is, but I can ask Mike tomorrow. I'll ask Mike if he has anything on what, you know, that. The only thing that I'm aware of is that there was a demolition permit issued to tear that building down.
yeah,
My concern was it was the time frame it took to take it down. It seemed excessive.
yeah, because I noticed that they're even working there on the weekend.
But it was, I mean, I thought it was really excessive. They were there over a month.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you could have torn it down by hand quicker than that.
Okay,
Thank you.
anything else? Yes, sir.
Is there any truth in the story from 2 weeks back that Councilman Isa wants to start charging you for using the ballparks for your tournaments?
We are looking into that, sir.
So you think that's a good idea, Mr. Isaac?
Well, we're trying to recover some of our costs,
Yeah,
but we're just looking at the numbers.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Questions? I want to announce that on June the 14th, the Music in the Park begins. I know with Billy D and Rosie. Not sure who Billy D and Rosie are, but they're there from 6 to 8:30. And then the last thing, there was a note on here, I just want to bring that to your attention. Circle August 21st on your calendar when you go home, because it's been brought to my attention, we're going to have a reenactment of the incident of Bloody Springs and Memorial Drive. And it sounds like that's really, I mean, we're talking, you know, a reenactment of everything from Indians to the people from the fort. Augusta, they're going to come over, and it sounds like it's going to be, I'm not sure how we're going to coordinate all this, but it really does sound like it's going to be a neat day. So circle August 25th on your calendars, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that in the near future.
21st of the,
20, what did I just say? 20, don't circle that, you'll be 4 days late. 21st.
Dave, there's one other
Yes.
thing on that tomorrow night. I got an email from Terry that at 5:30 tomorrow evening, there's going to be a memorial in the park on the victims from the Orlando shooting. I got an email on that right before we came up to council meeting.
Is that Cameron Park, sir?
Yes, and it's going, and then they said that the music will be at 6 o'clock. If there's going to be a memorial, an impromptu memorial tomorrow night at 5:30 in Cameron Park.
Who's doing that in the church?
I'll help you
It
get
says, I got right here,
interdenominational.
interdenominational service will be held Tuesday, 5:30 in Cameron Park, in remembrance of the people that died and were injured in Orlando over the weekend. And at 6 o'clock, the music starts.
Okay. Anything else? I want to thank everybody for coming. Meeting's adjourned.
All right, it's been real. As always.
You like your new job and you're still trying? How's the outlook going on anything back this way? Wonderful. You look like you get out of the sun a lot of
Pray for the drive home.
Is it a convertible?
No, my ticket.
Wow.
She started wearing sunscreen. It's a long
They might want to